Exploring the Beat generation's connections to the Kremlin and KGB. The Beat generation emerged in the 1940s and 1950s, characterized by a rejection of conventional values and a quest for spiritual liberation. Influenced by Eastern philosophies and jazz music, they sought authenticity. Key figures like Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, and William S. Burroughs became the movement's icons. Their works, including Howl and On the Road, challenged traditional literary forms and celebrated spontaneity. Post-war America's rigid societal norms and rampant consumerism catalyzed the Beat's rebellion. They critiqued materialism and conformity, advocating for personal freedom and artistic expression as a form of resistance. Through their literature, the Beat generation voiced a profound anti-establishment sentiment. They condemned societal constraints and championed individualism, often exploring taboo subjects like sexuality, drugs, and existential angst. Rejecting mainstream values, the Beats cultivated alternative lifestyles. Their works reflected a deep disillusionment with the American dream, highlighting the spiritual void and yearning for deeper, more meaningful experiences. The Cold War era was marked by intense ideological battles between the United States and the Soviet Union. This tense atmosphere greatly influenced the Beat generation, shaping their anti-establishment views and literary creations. The Kremlin closely monitored Western countercultures, particularly the Beat generation. Soviet authorities saw the Beats' nonconformity and free-spiritedness as both a threat and an opportunity for propaganda. KGB tactics included surveillance and infiltration to gather intelligence on intellectuals. They aimed to understand and potentially manipulate the countercultural movements to destabilize Western societies from within. Beat writers, including Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac, were often under the watchful eye of Soviet agents. Their works, critical of American society, drew significant attention from the Kremlin. The Beats had a complex view of Soviet communism. While critical of American policies, they were equally skeptical of Soviet authoritarianism, advocating for genuine freedom beyond political dogmas. Cultural exchanges between the USSR and American artists during the Cold War were rare yet impactful. These encounters offered a glimpse into each other's worlds, fostering mutual curiosity and subtle influence. Ginsberg's visits to Eastern Europe and the USSR were significant, as they allowed him to experience firsthand the stark contrast between American and Soviet societies. These journeys enriched his literary voice. Russian literature's influence on the Beats was profound. Writers like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy resonated deeply with their existential themes, enriching the Beats' exploration of human consciousness and societal constraints. The Beats were vocal critics of both American and Soviet policies. Their works often highlighted the hypocrisies and failings of both superpowers, advocating for individual freedom and authenticity. The KGB attempted to exploit Beat anti-war sentiments to further Soviet propaganda. By monitoring and sometimes manipulating their activities, they sought to use the Beats' dissenting voices against the U.S. establishment. Jazz and blues deeply influenced both Beat and Soviet cultures, serving as a form of emotional and political expression. These musical genres symbolized freedom, rebellion, and a break from societal norms. The Beats inspired Soviet dissidents, who saw in their works a model for resistance and nonconformity. Beat literature's focus on individuality and authenticity resonated with those living under oppressive regimes. The legacy of the Beat generation in modern Russia is significant, contributing to various artistic and literary movements. Their works continue to inspire new generations who value freedom of expression. KGB files on Beat generation figures reveal the extent of surveillance and interest in their activities. These documents provide a fascinating glimpse into the Cold War era's cultural and political dynamics. The complex relationship between the Beats, the Kremlin, and the KGB underscores a clash of ideologies. Despite differing political systems, both sides recognize the power of culture and intellectual influence.
Welcome to Fire in the Minds.